Hi everyone, my name is Kenan Dikilitas. I'm working at the University of Bergen in Norway. Today I would like to share with you one of our projects, which is called HYCOMM, referring to AI Enrich HyFlex Learning Community. And this is an Erasmus project where three major universities from Spain, Turkey, and Norway collaborating with two other technology institutions from Turkey and Belgium. So in the presentation, I'll be sharing with you the preliminary analysis of focus group discussions with academics working in these three universities in different disciplines. So as I said, we are three major universities and two supportive companies. And here is our link that you can link on it and click on it and find out more about what we do, how we do things. And as I said, we use HYCOMM as an acronym of HyFlex Learning Community for Higher Education Teachers. As I said, it's a collaborative project where universities are, working together to come up with some new models for HyFlex design and training, and also some strategies for universities to follow. Our mission is to enhance HyFlex design and delivery skills of higher education teachers and to build institutional capacity of higher education institutions for digital transformation where they can try out flexible models for course delivery. And so we basically do three major things. One of them is developing an AI enriched training module for teachers in higher education to try out, to learn and develop new skills. And it will be made of 9 interactive modules where, different methodologies and tools are integrated so that participants can learn how to do it by also doing it in the course they are getting. We will then have a HYCOMM lab where, we're establishing an innovative online collaborative platform that serves as a hub for people to refer to kind of interact and to learn together. As a result of all these technologies, actually, we also want to build an HyFlex community where different educators come together, especially from different institutions, and then they help each other to develop HyFlex teaching practices. And as I said, I'll be share with you the focus group discussions because we wanted to explore university teachers' perceptions, how they conceptualize flexibility and high flexibility, etc. And we wanted to understand their needs and expectations as well as the challenges. And finally, we also wanted to know what kind of flexible practices they implement in their context. Well, we did some basic thematic analysis of the data we collected from several people to understand, how these practices look like in their context and what the concerns are, what the needs are, what the challenges are, etc. And the main purpose of these teams would be to show how flexibility is understood and then how it is practiced across diverse institutional contexts, mainly in three universities. One of the key results was that everyone understood flexibility differently, which will help us understand how we will develop these course modules and the hub where university teachers will be part of and will be interacting and learning together. One is like one of the universities, the Bergen, for example, they talk about combining synchronous and asynchronous learning as a way of flexibility. And then the university in Turkey talking about adapting to the student needs. These are initial understandings, of course. And then the university in Barcelona talks more about negotiation, referring to addressing special needs and disabilities, and also assessment, like how we can do this more flexible in terms of practices. And some others talk about it offers different learning pathways. So UIB, University of Bergen and Barcelona, University of Autonoma, talks more about how flexibility helps engage with course materials through different participation modes, and then allowing students to work at their own pace in their own kind of way. And then they also talk about this instructional adaptation, where flexibility, might be referring to adaptation of pedagogical methods based on individual needs. So it's more about customizing and tailoring the practices according to the student needs, whether they are in the campus or online, or they are asynchronously engaging in the tasks. And there are lots of benefits that people mentioned. One of them was it offers students control over their learning because of the flexibility. It empowers students to make some decisions on when to learn, how to learn, where to learn, how much to learn, and how to proceed learning. And then they also talk about the autonomy and accessibility, as we said, where students are allowed to access materials from anywhere. And then they also talk about the fact that HyFlex models might be offering students multiple learning formats using different multimodal resources more easily because of the need or the course design that allows students to access everything that they need to learn from. And also they talk about the fact that flexibility enables interdisciplinary collaboration and access to guest lecturers. This is another aspect that people saw as benefit. Um, and then there is also some challenges that people mention. One of them is like decline in the number of students who participate or who engage more, especially in online and hybrid settings. Some people mention this as a challenge. Probably with this course, we will create multiple engagement dimensions for students to access and attend HyFlex courses. And then the university in Turkey also mentioned that students prefer watching recorded lectures without active participation because it's maybe easier. And another aspect reported by faculty is the amount of workload and additional preparation time and intensity. So as I understand, and as they said, actually, they have a lot of difficulties in maintaining engagement across different modalities where students are participating. And then the extra effort required for developing course materials for each modalities. But I think this is one of the issues that we're gonna discuss because focus group discussions are offering preliminary understanding of these teachers before they are trained, before they take part in our modules and courses. I think that will these perceptions and conceptualizations will change over time as they engage with the new modules and courses. They also talk about technological barriers and digital literacy gaps where people lack actually the tools that can enable fully functioning, flexible attendance. And also the students doesn't know probably how to function in such courses because of the low levels of digital literacy. That's another aspect. And this is mentioned both in Norway, where preparedness for technology is high, and even in Turkey, where this kind of preparedness is relatively lower. So it's not about having the resources, but it's about how people use these resources. I think there is still need in such kind of training. And then some universities talk about institutional support and other constraints. One of them mentions that institutions should support hybrid and HyFlex learning environments much more, and then that the instructors need kind of training, and the institution should invest in developing technological infrastructure. All universities mention these two, the training needs, resource development, and resource use is key. And all universities also mentioned rigid institutional policies like Spain, Norway, and Turkey. One of the constraints in implementing flexible models is that There are already existing mandatory attendance requirements and standardized assessments, which actually limits the way they can implement HyFlex. And then they also send a call out for policies where institutions support development of flexible learning models, especially in these three universities. So institutions need to kind of support these kind of facilities and opportunities systemically rather than teachers individually make some decisions and turn their courses in hybrid or high flex designs. I think it's an institutionally cultural development in terms of a lot of existing assessment and engagements strategies and standards could be changed. And also in flexible learning, the teachers and students can go with their own pace. It is, as it suggests, it's flexible, and students need to self-regulate their own learning by making some decisions. But at some point, some students in these universities, as their teachers mentioned, needed more structure because high flex environments might lead to a sense of overwhelming engagement or feeling lost. And then some people or students, since they need structure, they also need clear deadlines and expectations, which might be a bit messy in high flex environments. So as teachers report their students, we see that students may not be ready for HyFlex. So they also need some kind of training to adapt themselves to the pace and delivery of these HyFlex courses. And then the teachers also report that flexibility is seen as an easier route, like opting for recorded lectures instead of engaging with the live sessions, especially by students. So I think students need to be helped to understand the role of flexibility and high flex models and course designs where learning is supported in different ways rather than being online or being asynchronous is an easier route. So they have different advantages and disadvantages where students need to understand and engage with the course content and with the engage with the peers, engage with the teacher in a way that can maximize their learning. They also mentioned some ethical and social considerations. One of them was equity and access. uh, they mentioned that these hybrid learning models or flexible models can unintentionally exclude students from, especially if these students are from disadvantaged backgrounds, where they don't have technological infrastructure or some other qualities. And then the social impact on students is also another dimension they mention because being online or being in a hybrid participation mode can reduce the sense of community and social interactions. So this we should find ways to increase social interaction in HyFlex designs. I think this is what they are talking about in general. They also talk about these ethical concerns when teachers are offering their courses in HyFlex where students might be using AI, and these could be implementing the way they are engaging, the way they are doing critical thinking, the way they are creating content, or the way they are completing the assignments might be misleading them to learning, but that might not be the case in the use of AI without any ethical and responsible dimensions. So I think they talk more about how can they be sure that students are responsibly using or ethically using AI for in HyFlex course designs. And then when we talk about the AI integration in HyFlex learning, they also came up with a lot of ideas because what we're trying to do in this project is to use AI as a facilitator for flexible HyFlex designs. As we said in the beginning, most university teachers think that maybe they are right. It takes a lot of time to prepare HyFlex designs because they need to create multiple kind of formats for each modalities, and then they need to monitor students in different modalities in different management systems. But I think to address that kind of concern of teachers, we can generate some AI integration in for them to learn, especially for specific tasks. For example, in universities in Autonoma in Barcelona, mentioned that AI tools can be used for creating personalized learning experiences, or they can be used to provide adaptive feedback or managing maybe repetitive tasks like grading, which could be easily done without any bias, without any mistake. Instead of teachers, it can be done by teachers, AI actually. But they also had some concerns about the students being over reliant on AI, which could actually increase the or which could impact negatively the academic integrity that students might develop when they are having university education. Another aspect that was mentioned by University of Bergen participants was how we can use AI to enhance accessibility, such as giving students to chance to have text instead of speech or speech instead of text, or some kind of translation features of the format that they are engaging in different modalities where AI is being integrated. And actually, they also talk about the concerns about the lack of fairness and equity in the application of such tools, where some students might not have easy access to these opportunities. And in terms of future directions, they all mentioned that we need a continued faculty development process when we want AI and HyFlex models should be integrated. So faculty plays the key role to develop these practices, and institutional investment is needed for successful implementation. This is also something that they told. Finally, there are three aspects that I want to share, because when we ask them to talk about what would they expect to see in HyFlex Training Hub, they talk about virtual community, which they value to have, and then they appreciate an introductory model in the course where they will raise their awareness, and then how they can use AI for engaging students. It is important aspects mentioned by UAB. And then UIB teachers, like Bergen University teachers, talk about the fact that the hub should be practical, easy to use, and adaptable, and should increase accessibility, and it should allow for content generation for students and for teachers as well. And then the teachers in Turkey talk about uh, like how we can clarify the terminology in HyFlex. So what is HyFlex? What is hybrid? What is flexibility? So this is an important aspect that we are actually addressing in our module that we developed with Brian. And then the faculty training is needed. The Turkish university is also mentioning. And then how teachers can use AI-based tools for workload management and then student engagement. I think these are key initial suggestions for us to take with us when we are designing the modules and the hub for university teachers to use. So thank you very much. I think that's all that I can say.